never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you try me? Ain't no way I could deny you, I could stray. Won't you kiss me? Ain't no way. Want you, come and try me now. So come and try me now. I was never left alone. I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you try me? Ain't no way I could deny you, I could stray. Will you kiss me? Ain't no way. I was never left alone.
What's good? What's good? What's good? How's everybody doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How's my audio? How's my audio? I'm on the headset today. Didn't break out the mic. We was in the back chat clowning, acting a fool for a minute. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, welcome to the show. How's everybody's week so far? How's the I know last weekend was Easter. How was everybody's Easter? How's everybody's Easter? In the chat, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna let the people come in, before we get it started, because we got some news today. We're gonna get it cracked. We're gonna get it cracking in here. So much. I got two individuals on the screen. We're gonna get to them in a second. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about that at the top of the hour. So we're going to try to hit this in 90 minutes. My producer's going to put me on the clock after we get these intros in and saying what's up to the folks in the lovely chat. How are everybody doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, this weather is nice. I can say from my end, I heard there was a couple of cold snaps where you guys were at. Let's talk about those lashes, though. I know, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Let's talk about them lashes, though. You know what I'm saying? For all of y'all, I've been actually watching the George Floyd murder trial. The evidence is overwhelming, especially coming from the police side. So this is I hope it sets the precedence, but I'm not holding my breath. So, hey, it's going to is what it is. So the producer with the clock. Yeah, so I've been watching that in the news. I've also been watching these anti-Asian uh, things that's been permeating in the news. I'm not going to too much cover it, you know what I'm saying, too much. I'm just going to get down because I think that's a lot of diversions to what is actually going on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Making us the face of every single thing in America. You know, I am really tired of it. So I'm not going to speak on it too much on my platform. But we're just going to talk about the other things that are permeating in the news and stuff like that. Okay. So without further ado, right? You know what I mean? Let's get into it, right? We've been 5 minutes into it. And let's just get straight into it, okay? Let's just get straight into it, into what we want to talk about. All right, so the first thing is, you know what I'm saying? The first thing is, let me bring these people down here. So the first thing is we're going to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? In the news, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. Hold on one second. Make sure I got it right. Yeah, we're going to talk about at a Navy base, well, a Navy and an Army base in Maryland, there was a shooting, right? There was a shooting. So let's bring this up on screen. Let's bring this up on screen. All right. Here we go. So, a medic who shot two was assigned to the Medical Research Center. This is the man in question. I think he looks like he's either Indian or Pakistani or Afghani, somewhere in Southeast Asia descent person. So this photo is provided by the city of Frederick, Maryland. Shows Fatam Garma Wada Sitbet. Um, I think that's how you pronounce his name. A Navy medic who shot and wounded two U.S. Sailors before security forces shot and killed him at a nearby Army base and was assigned to a medical research center in Maryland for nearly 2 years. Authorities said Wanda Setback and the two men he shot on Tuesday, April 6th, were all assigned to Fort Detrick Army Base in Frederick. All right, so let's read this a little bit. A Navy medic who shot and wounded two U.S. sailors before he was killed by police on a nearby Army base was a laboratory technician assigned to the Navy Medical Research Center on the base, according to a service record and military official. Phantom Garma Wudasetbet, 38, and the two men he shot Tuesday at a government licensed military warehouse was assigned to Fort Detrick in Frederick. Authorities said employees at the Nicolock Paving Stones, a business located in the same office park as the warehouse, assisted one of the wounded sailors, Navy Hospital Casey hospitalman, or we call him a corpsman. You know what I'm saying? Casey Nutt, 26, of Germantown, Maryland. After he fled the scene of initial shooting, Nutt was released from the hospital on Tuesday evening, authorities said in a news release. Nutt also said the shooter was following him. Recall Wagner, who said he told sailors to run into the bathroom and shut the door. Wagner recalled that Nutt was terrified, his eyes wide open. He said it was overwhelming. To me, if he was looking for this particular individual, that means he was coming at them individually. He was coming at them directly. They were there, you know, I guess if he was looking for him specifically, you know what I'm saying? And this is me. I was in the Navy. This doesn't look like a big facility, so it's close knit. So it's probably military is there, but they're like oversight, government oversight. We have a lot of civilian employees. So if this was a work related incident, but what I want to understand is this is the man in question. I'm gonna put him up on screen. Let me go ahead and look in the comments real quick. Okay. What's going on, everybody? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm trying to keep that out of my face. But them cherry blossoms was killing me. But this is the guy in question right here. You know what I'm saying? I think he's Southeast Asian, Indian, Pakistani, something like that. Um, but he, you can enter the military. But basically, when you're in a close knit group like this or a close knit place like this, I done seen people. I've been in the service before, and people start messing with people and getting on people, and they flip out. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But he had a bad day. But let's bring this up and let's bring it up. You know what I'm saying? Let's bring it up. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead and stop the screen here and let me add this to the stream.
Frederick, Maryland, and was later shot to death at a nearby military base. Rachel Scott is there on the scene for us. Good morning, Rachel.
The motive still unclear this morning, Amy, but for the first time, we are seeing the panic that unfolded just minutes after one of the victims was shot. This new video obtained by ABC News is chilling and graphic. This morning, new surveillance video showing the moments of terror right after a gunman opened fire in Frederick, Maryland. You can see one of the victims covered in blood, stumbling into this business desperate for help. The employees behind the counter racing to the door, appearing to lock it. The operations manager who was inside that store speaking to ABC News moments ago.
We had no idea. It took so long to process what was going on because he walks in, he's scared. He has a look of like just fear in his face. He's covered in blood. And, after you take the time and it's all over and everything calmed down, to process everything that quickly, it was scary.
All units, 1043, city is operating on an active shooter event.
Authorities say the suspect is a Navy medic and that he critically wounded 2 sailors working at a naval biological research facility with an office at this business park.
We have a male subject in an army-type suit
carrying a long rifle.
A naval spokesperson telling ABC News the victims were co-workers with the alleged gunman, and this morning one still in critical condition. The other released just last night.
It's terrible. It's unfortunate. It's very tragic. It's happening too frequently. Every time we turn on the TV, we're seeing something like this happen, and now it's happening in our backyard.
The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Fantahun Girma, was Senabet. Overnight, authorities still searching.
Man, I butchered his name. Boy, I got the last part, but the woo. Let's bring that back. What is this man's name? Well, the deceased name. Hold on, let's bring it back.
Something like this happened, and now it's happening in our backyard.
The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Fantahun Girma, was Senabet. Overnight, authorities still searching for a motive, carrying out boxes of evidence from his home. The alleged gunman fled to Fort Detrick Army Base where he was assigned. Speeding past a checkpoint, officials say he was cornered by authorities, shot and killed by military personnel after taking out his rifle. And this morning, I'm told that victim is in critical but stable condition. One lieutenant telling me they were really able to act quickly, blasting out an alert about the suspect's vehicle. Because of that warning, they were able to surround the suspect within minutes after he breached the checkpoint. George.
Right, Scott, thanks very much.
All right, so that's what happened. Okay, it's very sad that went down. You know what I'm saying? At least one of the victims was already released. I guess it was the one that ran out that got help. The one that's still in critical condition. You did hear that, but there is another person that was with them. So I think they have that person in custody, or I think both of them died or something like that. But they got his name first. So I guess they're looking to see if this is a terrorist attack. Is this is something that just basically happened out of some work-related stress or something like that. But it's been too many mass shootings. I'm like, we're getting like 2 or 3 mass shootings a day. Like we're getting these like every week is just getting ridiculous with these mass shootings. Now this happened on a military base. So, the military, once you on a military base, they can give you that work. They can give you that work. So I'm glad that they was able to react on that. I'm glad that was done. So, you know what I mean? So now we got something else that's going down here. Okay. Um, this is something else that happened. And this happened, and this is in New York. This is in the state of New York, right? So let's get into this real quick. Right. Hold on. Let's get into this real quick. So basically, and this is what we're going to start talking about. We're going to get into this police thing, right? Okay. So a detective was accused of lying. Now 90 convictions may be erased. Okay. In New York City, and this was April the 7th. This was on Wednesday. And the articles that I'm talking about and the information that I'm talking about, the YouTube videos and stuff like that, they're in the description box below. Okay, so New York, over nearly 2 decades as a police officer and a narcotics detective, Joseph Franco made thousands of arrests, many for the possession and sale of drugs. Franco often worked undercover, and his testimony secured convictions for prosecutors around the city. But police officials who once relied on Franco are questioning his accounts after he was accused of lying about drug sales that videos showed never happened. Franco was charged with perjury in Manhattan in 2019. Now the fallout over Franco's police work is spreading. As many as 90 convictions that he helped secure in Brooklyn will be thrown out. Prosecutors plan to announce Wednesday many more cases in other boroughs could follow, a reckoning that lawyers say appears larger than any in the city's legal system in the recent history. Now, I'm gonna say this, you know what I'm saying? If you got any people that was any people, any in-laws, or any people that was in New York or that been arrested for, you know, or whatever, and this guy was on the docket or he was on the thing, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, you know what I mean? Go ahead and, you know what I mean, they're gonna have to put in, you know what I mean, they're gonna have to put in their stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna continue reading this real quick. Right. And we also, you know what I'm saying, I got, you know what I mean, to give this in-depth detail. We're in the moment of we're in the moment of talking about criminal justice reform, Gonzalez said in the interview this week. It's clear that we couldn't responsibly rely on his testimony to stand by these convictions. The move represents one of the largest dismissal of convictions in the state over concerns about official misconduct and comes amid a heightened national conversation about holding police accountable and curbing abuses among officers. In New York City, legislators recently made it easier to sue officers for conducting illegal searches or using excessive force. Now, the stop and frisk law. When they got rid of the stop and frisk law in New York City, no, I don't know the exact date. I'm pretty sure Neek, she got those. If she could drop that in the chat. But the stop and frisk laws, the decriminalization of marijuana, you know what I'm saying? Now marijuana is legal in the state of New York. You know, in Baltimore, like Baltimore's doing it with the whole, they're not prosecuting prostitution, drug possession, long as you ain't dealing and stuff like this, and petty crimes and stuff like that. They're giving you a fine and a summons. So now, because police officers, because I remember that there was a group of brothers, that was a group of police officers, I think it was 7 of them. They were actually suing the city of New York for basically putting quotas on them for arresting people. You know what I'm saying? They had to have an arrest quota or a summons, or they had to, you know what I'm saying? I remember this was about 4 or 5 years ago. So let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and play the video. Okay. Let's just go ahead and play the video about this, about what's going on here.
To Franco.
I can no longer stand by Detective Franco's work. I have lost confidence in his reliability.
Franco pleaded not guilty in 2019 to more than a dozen charges, including perjury for his work on 4 drug cases. One in April 2018. Franco said he witnessed a deal go down in this Manhattan building. But according to the indictment, security video showed no drug sale in the lobby, and other video showed Franco was never close enough to observe what happened. Franco is still awaiting trial. His attorney says throwing out the cases has created a toxic atmosphere that is prejudicial to Mr. Franco's constitutional right to the presumption of innocence. Marianne Kashian represents more than a dozen people whose convictions were vacated.
People have carried these convictions on their record for many years, and they've prevented them from securing employment, from maintaining housing. These are lasting effects.
Franco's criminal charges are based on the detective work he did in Manhattan. The DA in Brooklyn has not been able to prove similar misconduct, but he says he has lost confidence in the cases where Franco was an essential witness.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today.
All right, so you know what I'm saying. So y'all can check that out on NBC. The link, to this video is down in the description. Like, what do y'all think about that? About these guys doing this? You know what I'm saying. What do y'all think about these guys doing this? You know what I'm saying. Like, what do y'all think about all of this? This is crazy. Like, I'm like, it's not crazy. We knew it the whole time, but. And I'm sorry to say this because of the Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. I keep forgetting the sister name that happened, the thing that happened to her before about getting killed in her house. The Beckham John, the Philando Castile, the Tamir Rice, the list goes on and this national spotlight. But the George Floyd thing was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. Now you're seeing this rise in holding the police accountable. And New York did take the step. So Neek said stop and frisk was in effect from 2003 to 2013. However, the NYPD continued to use the tactic until about 2017. So think about it. This alone, you know what I'm saying? This alone gave police probable cause just to check you just for whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anything. You know what I mean? They just dare to make they dare to make a quota. You know what I'm saying? They dare to get an arrest quota. And if they get the arrest quota and they put you in these neighborhoods, right? Because think about it, a lot of these, from what I've noticed, a lot of these police officers, to make their quota, they will go to the poor neighborhoods, right? And this is New York. So you can go 4 blocks up the street and you're in a poor neighborhood or a disenfranchised neighborhood or high crime neighborhood. Yeah, Nick. It was an article about that where the police officers. It was a group of black police officers. I think 6 or 7 of them. You can still search for it, but it is an article. Hold on. Matter of fact, while I'm sitting up here talking about it, let me just pull it up. Okay. Yeah. So let me hear. Hold on, Matthews lawsuit. Here we go. Hold on, trying to find it. Let me see. Details, the quarter. Yeah, here we go. All right, here we go. I'll show y'all this real quick. I'll show y'all this real quick. And here's the thing right here. Real quick. Put this in the chat. That's the link right there, real quick. So, this is the New York Times. I got tired of hunting black and Hispanic people. Multiple police officers in Brooklyn say they were told by a commander and that white and Asian people should be left alone. This is very interesting. A police station tucked into an end-of-the-line subway terminal in South Brooklyn, the new commander instructed officers to think of white and Asian people as soft targets and urged them to instead go after Black and Latinos for minor offenses like jumping the turnstile. A half dozen officers said in the sworn statements, "You are stopping too many Russians and Chinese." One of the officers, Daniel Perez, recalled the commander telling him earlier this decade. Another officer, Aaron Diaz, recalled the same commander saying in 2012, "You should write more Black and Hispanic people." Now, remember what Neek said from 2003. Let's go back to what Neek said. Let's pull this back up. So, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me see what Neek said here. So this was 2012 that this guy said it. So 2003 to 2013, the stop and frisk was in effect in New York City, right? But it still continued the practices until 2017. Sorry about that. So this right here, if you read this article, is basically breaking down, you know what I'm saying, what we're talking about. And this has, you know, burns to the case, right? And Meek said it, right? Between October 2017 and June 2019, Black and Hispanic people, who account for slightly more than half the population in New York City, made up nearly 73% of those who got ticketed for fare evasion or whose race was recorded, and they also made up more than 90% of those who were arrested rather than given a ticket. You see this right here? So with that being said is, you know what I'm saying, Neek is spot on when she comes, you know, see, she brings the facts and the data, and I'm glad I got mods like that in my chat. You know what I'm saying? So let's put this back up on screen. Yep, up to 70 of stop and frisk with Black men. Exactly. So what this is basically saying is, they also say Black and Latino, but they're talking the Afro. Yeah, the Afro Latinos. Exactly. So this is basically you know what I'm saying, this is a huge thing because they're actually being transparent with this. Okay. So, and if you also heard them say, leave the Chinese, leave the whites and the Chinese alone, or the Asians alone. And then it says you're stopping too many Russians and you're stopping too many Chinese, right? So that means they're breaking the law just like everybody else is, but they're not. They're saying they're soft targets, right? Because Russians are considered what? They're considered white, right? So yeah. So with that being said, right? So so now we're going to move on. So now we have what we call, it's commercial time in the sanctuary. So we're going to run this commercial real quick. We're going to be right back with the rest of these stories.
Hi, this is Char Willie from the JustaskChar Advice channel on YouTube. Join me every Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for an open panel discussion. You'll find myself, Classic Ruby, and others giving our honest opinion, giving several examples, and problem solving. If you have an email for advice, you can send it to justaskchar@gmail.com. Hope to see you soon. Peace.
Join Char Willie and Classic Ruby for their radio show, Keep the Beat. They broadcast every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CRBJ, Classic R&B Jams. There are discussions of the songs, and that can take you back down memory lane. If you missed the live broadcast, no worries. Replays are uploaded on Mixcloud. So, follow JustaskChar Advice channel on Mixcloud, and you will receive the notification when these broadcasts are uploaded.
Hey, folks, it's your nighttime. It's your right time DJMuziq, and welcome to Classic R&B Jams Radio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, playing all the hits from the decades, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. Right here, Classic R&B Jams Radio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, soulful sound all around town.
That's it for our commercials. Check this out. So once again, you can check Char Willie Just Ask Char's advice channel. It's going on tomorrow, so stop in. You usually have Char Willie there and her lovely co-host Classic Ruby and our assistant co-host Lady Vonda there. You know what I'm saying? And it's an open panel, so you're free to join. As long as you add towards the conversation, make sure you're on time because Char does not play. You got 2 hours and 30 minutes to say your piece, and she's shutting it down. She's shutting it down, right? So make sure you get there, and then make sure you tune in Saturday for article reactions with Char Willie and Classic Ruby. They bring together articles. It's always a kick. We be in the chats, working in the chats, especially with the regime and our people, especially our brother Don Teasy. He be in there going off in the chat. And you see our lovely sister Nika in there having a great time in the chat. Then you go over to CRBJ, Classic R&B Jams, for the Backyard Sunday Barbecue. Supreme Elder DJ Music is turning up on the ones and twos. You know, enjoy your Sunday, relax, wash your car, clean your house, or come back from church. You know, man, dance in the house, right? Well, I think everybody's still social distancing, so you ain't got to come back from church, right? You can just turn on TBN. Let's talk about Wednesday is, you know what I'm saying, On the Beat with our Supreme Elder DJ Music and his co-host JustaskChar, or Char Willie from the JustaskChar Advice channel on CRBJ, and then keep that radio dial because then it is Keep the Beat with JustaskChar and Classic Ruby on Keep the Beat, where they have a discussion, but it's all around the music. So whatever they're talking about, they play the song and have a little story about it. But it's always got to on the main topic. And this is wonderful to hear a catalog of songs from both sides of the spectrum of both tastes. And then come right back here for the 1/3 show where we bring you news from the other side of the tracks. And I'm hoping you're loving the new format where we're getting straight down to business. I'll give my commentary. I'll let you decide what you think about it. Say what you have to say in the chat, and then I'll give my synopsis on the end. And then we'll be out of here because I don't want to keep you guys too long. And the producer said I'm doing very well right now. We on the clock, and I am ahead of the clock, but let's keep it going. You know what I'm saying? Without further ado, let's get into this story right here. Now, we're going to be talking about, we're bringing it up again. We're going to give you an update to the story that we did last week, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this back up here is this is Mark Gaez. This guy right here, if you know, he's under investigation, because he's having charges brought about him for, sex trafficking of a minor. There was word that he was messing with a 17-year-old young lady, girl, or whatever. You saw, I played the Tucker Carlson interview when he tried to throw poor Tucker Carlson underneath the bus. This was just horrible. We'll get to this other gentleman, or I'm sorry, I don't know how, because they don't have genders, but I'll get to James Charles in a second. But this is the man in question right here. And we're going to talk about him because there's some more news that came out on him just recently. Okay. So we're going to bring him up, to the floor. We're going to call him to the table because this is where we got to hold people accountable, right? You know what I'm saying? No one will beg you to be great, but we will hold you accountable, right? So this is, I had him up here twice. I don't know why that showed up like that. Okay, so thought it was ready. Let me see. Here we go. Stop. Bring it back. Oh, okay. Wrong one. All right, my bad. And stop screen share. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so Gaez under investigation for sex allegations sought a blanket pardon from Trump, right? sources say. Now, basically, he was going through this investigation already under the Trump administration. Matter of fact, this investigation started under the Attorney General, Mr. Barr. So he was already investigation when President Trump was in office. So, during the final weeks of the President Donald Trump's administration, Republican Rep. Mark Gaez asked the White House for a blanket presidential pardon, a request that was ultimately not granted, according to sources familiar with the matter. Gaez seeking a preemptive pardon for crimes that may have been committed was first reported by the New York Times. Trump was aware of Gaez's request, but the idea was quickly dismissed inside of the White House, sources told ABC News. The Department of Justice is investigating whether Gaez had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and paid for her travel with him, potentially violating sex trafficking laws. A spokesperson for Gaez, who has denied any wrongdoing, said the congressman's request has conflated with a general push for pardons. Entry-level political operatives have conflated the pardon call for Representative Gaez, where he called for President Trump to pardon everyone from himself to his administration to Joe Exotic, with these false and increasingly bizarre partisan allegations against him. The spokesman said in a statement, these comments have been on the record for some time. President Trump even retweeted the congressman who retweeted them out himself. The investigation targeting Gaez was launched last year when Trump was still president. Sources familiar with the matter have told ABC News it's not clear whether the White House or Gaez were aware of the ongoing investigation at the time. Then Attorney General Bill Barr was briefed on the investigation process several times. So basically, this guy already under investigation. This is crazy. So let's bring in our favorite person to talk about this.
Described to us by multiple people who are familiar with what took place is that Gaez did two things. Publicly on Fox News, and I think he tweeted it, he said that the former president should pardon literally everybody. I think he mentioned the Thanksgiving turkey. He talked about Joe Exotic, because in his words, the quote-unquote liberal crowd was going to come after allies of the president. There was also a private conversation that he had with White House officials about a blanket pardon. He wanted one for himself. He was suggesting one for allies of his in Congress. We're not sure specifically who. White House officials thought it was bizarre and knocked it down pretty quickly. Now, remember, this was not what we're told is that White House officials did not know specifics about what Gaez was under investigation for at that point. We don't know how much Gaez knew, but we do know that at that point, it was clear that his friend, this tax collector in Florida, himself was under investigation related to issues regarding young girls or young women. So all of this paints this picture of somebody who sought a blanket pardon, ostensibly because he thought he'd be targeted because of the former president. But now allies of the former president are looking back on it and questioning whether this was an effort to protect himself because he knew what was going on. So he has, I should just note, denied wrongdoing.
If they applied.
So think about this for a second. You ask for a blanket pardon, right? You ask for a blanket pardon. And once you ask for a blanket pardon, that means that anything that you did prior to that pardon, they have to stop the investigation. Even if they find you guilty, you're not going to go to jail. It's you've been forgiven, right? So you can tell, I don't know who is this guy's lawyer? Like, who is his people? Because, man, he is just making misstep after misstep after misstep. Like, man, like, this is ridiculous. Like, he is not smart. So basically what's going to happen to him is this.
Turner.
That's what's going to happen to him. And the reason why I'm showing that specifically with him is, if you ever watch the Game of Thrones, you know when he became, the character in question became king, he was like this, he was this bratty child that just sniveling, just oh my God, it was just ridiculous, right? But then it came for him, and then he was trying to pull everybody with him, and there was nobody around, and no one cared what happened to him because he was such a jerk. And this is what's happening with this guy. Okay. So just to bring that up into play, right? To let you know what's going on, right? So now we're going to talk about, we're going to get into that, right? Because I'm gonna touch on that in a sec. I'm gonna go back and touch on this, Mr. Gaez. You don't have to be smart when you have a high-powered judge for a daddy. Exactly, because they're not mentioning his father at all. At all. I don't know if he's I think he's a circuit federal judge. I don't know, but he's always mentioning his dad, but no one's mentioning his daddy by name. You see what I'm saying? So we can dive deep in that at another date, another time. But he was already asking for a pardon before this stuff even hit. So all that stuff that he was doing is just like scorched earth. Like he's trying to drag down as many people as he can. It's like when someone's drowning, you go to save them. They're frantically fighting and they're pulling and scratching, and then they'll take you down with them. They'll drown you while you're trying to save them. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. This is what's going on. You're seeing a lot of political pull and mastery, especially in a state like Florida. This is very huge because he's a rep. So this is very huge, especially in the state of Florida, in his district and his constituents. The Republican Party is not looking good. Now I'm equal opportunist when it comes to both parties. So when I start getting in the political sphere and start talking about politics in that thing and bringing it to you guys, I'm bringing it to you guys. In such a manner is I want to be bipartisan with it, right? But I really couldn't find nothing this week that the Democrats did. But don't worry, they won't let me down. They won't let me down. I'll find something. Okay, so I'm not heavy-handed on both sides. I just want y'all to make the right decisions. Or make whatever decisions you want to make. Like I'm not pushing any type of narrative here for pushing it anyway. I just want to present it. Y'all watch it, take it how it is, right? So now we're going to talk about Mitch McConnell. Now that we noticed that the MLB took out moved the All-Star game, moved the All-Star game from Atlanta because of the voting rights thing that they passed. The bill basically doing legalized gerrymandering for the minority votes. You know what I'm saying? Minority votes. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, is the mayor in Georgia, the mayor in Atlanta. I'm sorry, I said Georgia. The mayor in Atlanta, Georgia, did an executive order to kind of mitigate some of that gerrymandering. So what has happened is a lot of the corporations have basically retracted their donorship or the money that they've been putting into these political spheres, mainly a lot of Republicans, right? Like Coca-Cola and certain things like this. So Mr. McConnell, he had a message for them. So here we go.
The same standard they applied to Georgia. They couldn't have games in St. Louis because Missouri has a more restrictive voter law than Georgia, than the new Georgia law. What are they going to do about the Mets and the Yankees? New York has a more restrictive voter participation law than the new Georgia law. Where does it end? So my warning, if you will, to corporate America is to stay out of politics. It's not what you're designed for. And don't be intimidated by the left into taking up causes that put you right in the middle of one of America's greatest political debates. You know, Republicans drink Coca-Cola too. And we fly. And we like baseball. This is a pretty competitive political environment in America, as I just pointed out, a 50-50 Senate. If I were running a major corporation, I'd stay out of politics.
Wow. Did he just not say that? Did Mitch McConnell just not say that? Did Mitch McConnell just not say that? Did he just say that? That is crazy. That is crazy. He just said that. So that means that you're not. So when they run the RNC and all of these donors like the Koch brothers and all of these other things, he said, didn't Michael Jordan say something like that? Like Republicans buy shoes too? Did he just use what Michael Jordan said back in the day? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But he wants their money, right? But he wants them to. But he doesn't. He wants. So okay. If I'm a business and I donate to a political candidate, then I'm donating to this candidate because that candidate is representing me, right? When a business pays taxes that goes to, right, it goes into a pot, and the legislators move, so everybody is involved in politics, businesses or whatever, but we know businesses really move the needle when it comes to politicians because that's the vehicle of money that they get to promote to the people to do X, Y, and Z. That's why you always hear about them raising money. So basically what he's saying is we can make it very hard for you. Now, there was a threat of raising the tax on these corporations if they did not comply with what they wanted to do. So that's crazy, right? So you're thinking, okay, well, Mitch McConnell stands on his disrespect. Not so fast. Mitch McConnell does not stand on his disrespect because I guess somebody must have called him in the back room and told him to sit down real quick, Mitchy boy, because you messing up. So Mitch McConnell retracts his demand that corporations stay out of politics amid outrage over Georgia's voting law, right? Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell on Wednesday walked back his demand that corporations stay out of politics. Mitch McConnell and other Republicans condemned major companies from speaking out against Georgia's restrictive voting law. The Kentucky Republican revised his criticism and said companies are certainly entitled to be involved in politics. Because if you tell them to stay out of politics and y'all are the ones mainly getting a lot of money from a lot of these corporations, then that means they're going to go, hold my Coke, Mitch, and they're going to go over here and give it to the Democrats, and they're really going to push you out of the Senate, right? And he'll still probably get reelected because he's from Kentucky. So with the exceptions of political donations, as major companies protest Georgia's recent passing voter rights restrictions, I didn't say that that very artful yesterday, the Kentucky Republican told reporters of his comments later this week, they're certainly entitled to be involved in politics. My complaint about the CEOs is that they ought to read the damn bill, he added. Well, he didn't say that. He just told them to get out of politics, right? Stay out of politics. Major League Baseball announced last Friday that it will pull its All-Star game from Atlanta in response to the Georgia law, which civil rights activists have broadly condemned as racist voter suppression effort. Georgia-based companies, including Coca-Cola, Delta, and Home Depot, follow, arguing that the voting law was based on GOP's lies about voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election. Okay, so this article is also in the description box below. So what do y'all think about good old Mitchy boy over here? Let's see, what do you think about good old Mitchy boy? These are the type of things that used to be done behind closed doors. Now they're right and open with the BS nowadays. Yes. He misspoke. He got that wake up stick real quick. He got hit with the wake up stick real quick. You know, Mitchy, you about it? What are you doing, Mitch? You're not supposed to say this in front of everybody, Mitch. What are you doing, Mitch? What are you doing? Mitch, you messed it up. So, now, I know y'all still listening to the chat. Thank y'all for still listening. We're about to get into the back end of this, okay? So we're done with our politics section of the news. I know, right? I know it's a little boring, but you need to understand this. You need to know this with the politics involved, because the politics involved is really what actually it really affects you. Okay, these voting laws, these city council, state legislation, federal legislation, all of this stuff really affects you, especially in this day and age, especially with this coronavirus going on. Get that money, get these things, right? Get these programs popping. And, you know, these corporations are involved in these programs, pushing this legislation, donating, lobbying for these things. So the corporations actually just shows you right there how powerful they are. He says something against the corporations. Next day he comes out and retracts what he said, right? And this is what happens. And this is what happens. So, and like Neek said, you know what I'm saying? Charles said, but he wants their money. Exactly. He wants their money. Let's look at this. These types of things used to be done behind closed doors. They're right out in the open with this BS nowadays. Exactly. Exactly. They're just right out in the open with the BS nowadays. You know what I mean? So now we're going to get into the entertainment section of this. Okay. We're going to get in. We like to be entertained, right? So remember when I was talking about the lady that was on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? Didn't even know that was a thing, but it's a thing, right? Well, here's an update, right? She just can't stay out of the news. She just want to keep doing other stuff. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to read this, what she done, and I'm going to bring, and I'm going to let y'all hear some audio too about the dumb stuff that she's doing, right? So Jen Shah says she's the only minority on the show, says Mary Cosby on the show, and says Mary Cosby thinks she's white. The reality TV star was recently arrested and indicted in a federal telemarketing fraud case. A controversial figure from the cast of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Jen Shah says she's the only minority on the show, claiming the black cast member Mary Cosby thinks she's white. Shah has already made major headlines in the past week, as the Griot reported last Tuesday. Shah was arrested for conspiracy to commit wire fraud in connection with telemarketing and conspiracy to commit money laundering. This is the late person here on the screen, right? The show Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Yeah. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this, because we're going to get to the tea, right? You heard the assumptions. The article is in the description box. Read it at your own leisure. All right, here we go.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think that's what I dealt with like all season from a lot of these ladies. It hurts my feelings because I'm just like, wow, okay, here we go, another one. But yeah, I'm the only minority on the show. Mary doesn't even count because Mary thinks she's white, but they just all came for me, which it's fine. I'm going to be myself. And you know what? People like that because I'm real. I don't, and they know I'm the one on the show that has the biggest heart too. They know that. That's why I get so.
Now, right. Now I'm going to stop it right there. Now, what I want y'all to do is clue in on the date of this, right? And what I mean is this is November the 20th. So this is November the 20th. This had to have been 2020. This is 2021 and it's April. So this means the show was already in the taping, right? So this was her venting to someone in confidence, okay? And this person, I guess, they got paid the right amount of money, got promised, you know what I'm saying, a pat on the head or something special, and bam, they put it up there. Put it out. So yeah, this lady's, you know what I'm saying, this person's putting themselves in hot water again, right? But, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I haven't watched the show. And this woman is this is a woman of Asian descent because she's Indian. She's Indian American from India, and India is in Asia. This is an Asian descent woman, basically typecasted because I guess the black woman on the show speaks proper, and I guess she doesn't stereotype. She's not a stereotypical black woman, so she's not considered a minority. She thinks she's white because I guess, I don't know. I don't really watch the show, but usually in that connotation, if a black person speaks proper or they act a certain way, they don't act like a stereotypical or what is put out in the media about black people, she feels as though she's the only minority because I guess she's the only one up there acting quote unquote ratchet or hood or whatever the hell she is. Because if you can hear it in her voice and what she's saying. Now, this woman is also married to a black man, right? This is you get what I'm saying. Like I'm not, you know, I don't have to spell everything out for you because we're very astute as adults, but I want to show that to you so you understand what we're talking about here. And this is where we have an issue and a problem, but no one's calling this out, right? I don't see any hashtags for this, right? Okay. I haven't seen no one from the Asian community come in and chin check this. But no, I digress. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm gonna stop right there. Right? So let's get to the next person on the list. Right? I got a list and I'm making it twice. So let's get to the next person on the list. All right. So let's talk about Mr. James Charles. Let's talk about Mr. James Charles. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all was wondering why am I bringing the person up, you know, from the LGBTQ community, but we have to bring it up, right? So beauty guru James Charles apologizes for reckless interaction with minors. I effed up. This is him right here, Mr. James Charles. This is him right here on screen. This is him without the makeup on. Okay, this is what he looks like without the makeup on. Okay. So basically, James Charles, booty guru and influencer with over 25 million subscribers on YouTube, apologized on Thursday following accusations that he sex text and flirted with minors on social media. In a 14-minute post on YouTube, Charles, who is 21 years old, acknowledged that he flirted with minors who told him they were over 18 but said he was being reckless. The recipients of the screenshots said details and the interactions don't really matter because I effed up and I need to take accountability for my actions. Most importantly, apologize to the people who are affected by them. These conversations should have never happened, point blank, period. There is no excuse. I trusted the information that was given to me rather than the information I could have and should have gotten myself. Charles, as an adult, is my job. Now, this is my thing, right? He's in the community, right? He's around a whole bunch of people. Right? He has access to a whole bunch of people. Why are you online talking to strangers in DMs that you can't confirm or their age? Like, where's your people? But, you know what I mean? I'm an equal opportunist, right? Because he made an apology, right? He made an apology. Mr. James Charles made an apology. That's all he had to do. And if you don't believe me, let's bring in the receipts.
Over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.
To the victims, I am so sorry. And I promise that something like this will never, ever happen again.
James Charles apologizes after allegations surfaced that he was sexting with minors.
James Charles's apology was pretty well received according to the YouTube statistics. He has
Now listen to what this lady says. James Charles' apology was pretty well received by the YouTube statistics, right? Now, the reason why I brought up the other guy, because if you think about it in retrospect, right, he's texting minors, dealing with minors or whatever, right? This man over here is doing the same thing, right? Now, he's got a federal indictment for sex trafficking with a minor and all this other stuff. Now, Mr. Charles, like, you know, what's going on with him, right? What's going on with him? Because he's admitted to what he's done. These are minors. These are people. Now you're being predatory, whether you know or not. You know what I mean? Something should be levied or whatever. But let's let the lady continue, right? Because his major platform is YouTube. This is where he gets his branding and all this stuff from, where he's with these companies and things like that. But let us keep going.
a really high like to dislike ratio. But on Twitter and other spaces where people have been discussing the allegations against him, the video was not well received.
News reports reveal that boys claiming to be under 18 years old have alleged the 21.
Now look at this. James Charles, YouTube star, admits to messaging a 16-year-old boy. James Charles says he's sorry and he flirted with underage fans. James Charles posted a video about underage sex texting. YouTube star James Charles addresses the allegation he sex texts with teen boys. Teen boys, mind you. Teen boys. Think about it for a second. Listen, if we're talking about equality, these are children at the end of the day. I have a teenage son. If, you know what I'm saying, they're starting to, you know, send these teachers to prison that are having sex with these boys, just like the same thing with the men. So they're actually, that's leveling out. They're doing a good job on that. So what are we going to do about this community over here? Because this community is getting out of hand where they can just do whatever they want, right? Before they wanted equality, now they get this preferential treatment and this preference, right? Because this, I'm not agreeing with what this dude did, but I'm just saying, if we're talking about equality, if you want me to accept your lifestyle, this is not acceptable of you being a grown adult messing with a minor. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care if you identify as a toaster. I don't care if you identify as an oven. I don't care if you identify as a microwave. I don't care if you identify as a blender, a hand blender. I don't care. You don't mess with it. You don't mess with those. You don't mess with minors. What Nick say here?
One-year-old YouTuber sent them inappropriate messages. In a video message on his channel, James Charles says he didn't know they were underage.
I trusted the information that was given to me rather than the information I could have and should have gotten myself. In both of these situations, doing research into these people's public social media profiles would have revealed their true ages, and therefore these conversations would have never happened in the first place, but I didn't do the research. And
now, James Charles did say that he does not, by any stretch of the imagination, he does not like older men. He likes younger men. So he's basically telling you straight off, like, because he did say it in an article before then. So he could have checked it out because they have their ages on their social media platform. So you're just up there sex texting somebody. He knew that he just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, because there's another content creator that was out there sex texting a chick, and she was a minor, and he said he messed up and they canceled him completely out. He's underneath a rock somewhere, right? And what he did was absolutely wrong, right? This guy's doing the same thing, but because he's doing it to boys and because he's a part of that community, he gets a shroud of protection and he gets a difference of preference than anybody else. If we're going to hold one side of the fence accountable, we need to hold every other side of the fence accountable. See, and this is the problem that we're talking about, where people need to be held accountable for their actions and the stuff that they're doing, because this is not cool. Not at all. Not for one bit. Let them continue.
that is what is so embarrassing.
Can James recover from this?
No, you noticed that, right? He said that is what's so embarrassing. That's because he got caught. It was okay, but that's why he got caught. When he got caught, it is what it is.
I think what a lot of James's critics are looking for is a little bit more action from his sponsors. I think in order for James to come back to it, there would have to be a larger process of accountability.
James Charles says he takes full responsibility for his actions.
These conversations should have never happened, point blank period. There's no excuse for it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
He adds that he plans to be more careful moving forward with each person he speaks to on social media. I'm Lee Sheps for Inside Edition Digital.
So what do y'all think about that? Let's see what Nick has to say. Why hasn't he been arrested? I have watched hundreds of episodes of Catch a Predator where men were arrested for the very same thing. I think there's a new privilege that we're not talking about, right? There used to be, the white male privilege, right? And then, then it's the white, then it was the white female privilege, right? That didn't last too long. And then there's the white LGBTQ privilege, right? That's above that, right? So, of course, he's not going to be arrested because they're making money off of him. And if you notice, I noticed this, anytime someone has to do a mea culpa on these on these platforms, right? Anytime someone has to do a mea culpa on these platforms, what I do notice is that you see this right here. You see this right here? Skittles privilege. I like that, Neek. The Skittles privilege, right? He didn't look like this in his apology video. He made sure all the makeup was off. He made sure he looked like he was distraught because he didn't have his hair placed. And all of this was set up on purpose to make him look more contrite, make him look more innocent, to make him look bare, like he's vulnerable, like I'm walking and I'm falling on the sword and all of this other stuff, right? The surrender to win tactic, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? And this is you know what I'm saying? And this is what it is, right? Like if from the neck up, if you didn't know any better, you would think that this was a female, right? So he's modeling himself after the person with the most privilege, right? And the person with the most privilege is what? There you go, right? You see the writing on the wall, right? Because this is a male on the right that is held to a standard, and he's supposed to be held to that standard because he's in public office and this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 right? Now, there this comes out that if he's messing with this girl and she's whatever, she's a minor in sex trafficking, yeah, he should get whatever's coming down on him, right? And I already showed you what he was doing, so let's not say what my stance is. But what I'm talking about on the other side is this person just said they apologized for it, they admitted to the wrong, and they're just going to move on with their life and continue making their money. How is this possible? Right? Because this dude said, hey, I dealt with the young woman, the 17-year-old woman. He admitted on Tucker Carlson what he did, right? So what's one for one was one for the other. Why we're not holding both accountable? Make that make sense to me. But I digress, right? I digress. You know what I'm saying? I digress. Now, I got one last thing for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Since we're talking about these beauty pageants and people from that part of the world, we're going to keep it pumping. We're going to keep it going, right? So there was a beauty pageant in Sri Lanka, right? There was a beauty pageant in Sri Lanka, right? And I'm going to show y'all. And y'all probably asking me, why are you bringing this up? Well, you know, I just see stuff, you know, I just look at the news and I think it's pretty cool to bring it to you guys, right? And since I'm on this side of the world, I'll get news that you probably won't get, right? So just to bring it in, and I like to look into other things because, you know, and look into other parts of the community that we're not, you know, privy to, right? And because I'm over here, I like to show you guys, right? Because every culture has their nuances and their differences and their function and their dysfunctionalities. And sometimes one culture is always put as the model minorities and stuff like that, right? While they're actually taken from the fight of other minorities and stuff. Told you can't. You right, Sean. You are right. You're right. So, with this being said is, let's bring this up, okay? Let's bring this up for this article. Miss Sri Lanka, winner, right? So this is what happened in question, okay? This is Sri Lanka winner, right? Okay, so I have the video and I'll show you. Miss Sri Lanka winner says she suffered injuries after her crown was snatched off of her by Mrs. World, right? Pushpinka D. Silva, a pageant queen who won the title Miss Sri Lanka on Sunday, says she was injured after her crown was forcibly removed from her head on stage by a former winner. The incident was captured on a televised broadcast of a ceremony which showed Dia Silva being named the 2020 winner of Miss Sri Lanka before her crown was taken by a Caroline jury who won the pageant in 2019 and is currently the reigning Miss World. In a video crowning the ceremony published by the Colombo Gazette, jury cites a pageant rule that prevents women who have been divorced from winning the title. There is a rule that you have to be married and not divorced. So I'm taking my first steps in saying that the crown goes to the runner-up, jury tells the audience. She then takes the crown and her head and places on the runner-up, and D Silva walks off stage, the video shows. In a recent Facebook post shared, D Silva says she suffered injuries to my skull while jury snatched her crown off. As I write this, I responsibly say that I am not a divorced woman, she wrote in a statement translated from Shinhala. If I am divorced, I challenge them to submit my divorce papers. So even though that symbolically the crown has been snatched from my head, I would like to inform you that I've already taken the necessary legal action for the injustice and the insult that has taken place. D. Silva added that a real queen is not a woman who snatches another woman's crown, but a woman who secretly sets the other woman's crown. Right? And the national director for I can't pronounce this person's name, told BBC that D. Silvia crown has been returned to her. We're disappointed. He said, adding, it was a disgrace how Caroline jury behaved on the stage, and Mrs. World organization has already begun to investigate the matter. Right? So I'm going to show y'all what went down. Where's your Turner? You gonna get it right here. Turner. Yo, so let's bring it back. Hold on. Turner. Hold on. Turner. So I'm gonna tell y'all how this went down, right? We gonna show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all how this went down.
This is Sri Lanka World 2020.
I have a small request. As per the Mrs. World Inc., there is a rule that you all have to be married and not divorced. So, I'm taking my first step saying that the crown goes to the first runner-up.
So what you're watching right here, and I want y'all to understand this, what you're watching right here is this is the old, and she takes it and she puts it on her friend, because this lady that's the runner-up is her friend, right? And this is, and the one that won was the one that they took the crown off. And then this lady that's coming out in the back, you're thinking she's talking to her, trying to calm her down, but nah, she's in on it. So all three of them were in on it. It was a setup from the very things. If she didn't win, they was gonna make her win. Right, and the girl that's standing to the side, she already knew that the fix was in. So this showed how corrupt it was, right? And she's crying and all this other stuff. So let's continue playing. Now, why is she holding this black fist? Like, why is she holding this black power fist like this? And what's wrong with her elbow? What's wrong with her elbow? Yeah, they tried to turn up the music on her because they didn't know what was going on either. Look at this. They done went up there and did a Kanye West on the Taylor Swift, right? You know what I'm saying? Ghetto pageant style. They done demoed it. Look at this. Look at this. Man. Listen, when I saw this, I thought this was funny. Now, this was a pretty long video. The link is in the description. I chopped it down for y'all. So we can just get to the point of this. But look at this right here. This is the model minority. This is what they doing in their country. This is because this is who's going to represent them, I think, in the Miss Universe pageant or something like that. Because Sri Lanka, like, I guess that's what happens. I'm not a beauty pageant expert, but hey, look at this. She straight deboed. Listen, I know that if anybody was up on that stage, this is what would have happened. Turner! Security would have had to came out there. Turner! You ain't. Turner! Look at this. And then they got their arms out. Look at this. Look at that. They just westernized Westernized. Sure, they're not going to smash those women. But look at this. They just deboed. Look, an old girl just standing there like, I ain't got nothing to do with this. Look at this. We stole it, girl. So the elbows hyperextended. Let's bring that back. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on, Nick. Hold on. What I want to know is, hold on. I gotta bring this back. Why does she got the black power? Like, why is her elbow? Why is she double jointed? Their elbows are all hyperextended. Like, they didn't even know how to do the black fist right. Look at it. Like, they all double jointed. Oh Lord. Look at this. This is what's going down. Listen, hey, they feminine. You know what I'm saying? They feminine. You know what I mean? They feminine. Look at that. He put the crown on right. Like, it's crazy.
Judges for the honor, and I would like to thank for who helped me, who believed in
You heard what she said? Who believed in her. They just deboed this woman crown on stage on national Sri Lankan television, put up the black power fist. Look at this. They just, we can't have nothing, can we, y'all? We can't have nothing, can we, y'all? I know. Well, the link is in the description. The link is in the description below. If y'all want to check that out, about what went down with that. This is I'm the winner. Man. So, man, I'm the winner. Man, please like and share the stream. If you would like to donate, please donate. If you like to do a donation, Char Willie, please drop your Cash App and your donation, because we like to support our lovely lady Char, our producer and the architect over here in the regime helping us out. So drop your link in there, Char. And who was it? Hold on, Dan, tell me they didn't steal that too. Yes, they did. Music Elder, they just with the hyperextended elbows. I thought that was just hilarious, right? I see what I'm saying. So I hope y'all enjoyed today's show. I hope y'all enjoyed today's format. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for Char to drop her link in there for a Cash App. If you would like to donate, if you would like to support in a donation for the platform, but we would like our lovely lady Char to get her platform supported, because she's done so much for everybody. When I say the producer, I'm actually referring to JustaskChar, Char Willie. We appreciate and the love and support. But yeah, I hope you liked today's show. I hope you liked today's format. I hope it wasn't too fast for you. I'm trying to get these articles in, say my piece, so you can retain the information, so it can be an entertaining and educational experience for all, and be a little bit less opinionated. When I do the session, which is our once a month open panel, that's when I'll be a little bit more opinionated, because we got time. We just kicking back, having a good time, and we relaxing. Nothing too much going on. But I'd like to thank every last one of you for coming through. Please support the content creators that are in the chat also, and the radio station CRBJ with our Supreme Elder JustaskChar, owned and operated by our Supreme Elder JustaskChar. All of the channels, my social media, and all of the channels of the regime, the people that are associated with the regime, are in the description box. You can check that on for the restream. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we were just getting into it today, just to let you know, but just to see that, right? You see, and the reason why I wanted to focus on certain things is because these people are not being held to the same standard. You know what I mean? If they're not holding each other to the same standards, right? And you can see that the gap is getting wider and wider, and and the powers that be pick and choose who they want to hold to these standards, right? Then what standard are we being held to, right? And I like to show you this, you know what I mean, because, you know, don't get caught up in the window dressing of society too much. Don't get caught up when they keep pushing in your face. Dig deeper. Why are you trying to divert my attention? Why are you trying to push me over here? Why are you trying to do X, Y, and Z? You know what I'm saying? X, Y, and Z. So I like to thank every last one of you for coming out. You could be anywhere that you wanted. I hope you like the new format. I hope is, you know, the replay or the rewatch value is to your liking. Happy, like Char Willie likes to say, happy Friday's Eve. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the nation. Salute to the nobility. Ever noblesse. No one will beg you to be great, but we sure as hell will hold you accountable. Thank you all. Good night. And we just gonna play the outro song on the way out. You know what I'm saying? Peace.
And left alone, I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined.